Alright, so I went to go record a G36K video today, and it just made me really annoyed using it, so I decided to switch to this topic for the video because I feel like this is something we really need to talk about, as it seems like a lot of the community gets kind of fooled by these quote-unquote new guns, and they really don't add anything to the game, and I really want to talk about that. So, hopefully my count isn't wrong here, but I went through and counted just really quick. We have 100 primary guns in Phantom Fortresses, 100 unique ones. With those 100 primary guns, we have 3 AK-12 variants, 3 G36 variants, 5 AUG variants, 3 FAL variants, and 4 what I like to call off-sniper variants, which are the 1858 carbine, the Jury, the KAC SRR, and the Henry. So let's talk about those, just those off the bat real quick, and then we'll talk about other things such as like copy-pasted guns that are literally just useless to the game. So first off, let's talk about the AK-12 variants. When's the last time you've seen anyone use like the AK-12U or like the AK-12C, if those are the names I'm thinking of? Yeah, the AKU-12 and the AK-12C. No one, because they're absolutely useless and they added literally nothing to this game, but they were just copy-pasted over and passed off as quote-unquote new guns. Which, for most people who would think, and they may not really look into it, they look like new guns, sure, but they're quite literally useless and they add nothing to the game, and that's my issue with these things. Going on to the G36 variant. So the new G36K came out. It is quite literally, not quite literally, I'm sure there's some differences, but the overall picture of it is a copy paste of the old G36's stats onto a new gun and has the new same, like, harder recoil of the new G36. So all you did was technically take the old G36, nerf it a little bit, and the new G36 took the old stats, buffed the damage a little bit, and made the recoil a little bit harder to control. So you just copy-pasted the old stats and passed that off as a new gun. It's not. It's basically the same thing, and that really bothers me. Because people think this is some kind of new gun and we're getting new content. Of course, it's new content, quote-unquote, because we didn't have a G36K before. But really, quote-unquote, content, it isn't content because it's nothing new. It's nothing that's going to change how you feel about the game. It's just copy-pasted. Let's go on to the AUGs. We have 5 different AUG variants. Think about that. With the AUG A1, A2, A3, the A2 is basically useless. Nobody cares about it. The AUG A1 and the AUG A3 are more or less the same exact gun, minus like 40 fire rate on the AUG A3. 40 fire rate more on the AUG A3 compared to the AUG A1. The damage, like shots to kill, the same. The AUG H-bar, like sure, it's an LMG, but like nobody really cares for that anyways, because why would you use an LMG variant of this when you could just use the normal AUG? I mean, granted, the LMG does more damage close range, and it could 3-shot to the torso at close range, but it really doesn't change much of a difference. You have a slower reload, you still have the same exact, actually you have less of a fire rate than the AUG A1, it really isn't worth using, so it's there, but again, it doesn't add much to the game. Not to mention the AUG A3 Para, which, yeah, it isn't a terrible gun, but again, it adds nothing. It literally, having 5 different variants of the same exact gun does not change anything about this game. It will not make you, like, want to play the game more. You can't even really pass it off in your own eyes as new content. You can't, because it isn't anything really new. Granted, those have been in the game for a long time, but it doesn't change anything. You're not going to be like, oh, hey, let me go try out my 5 different AUG variants today. It's just not going to happen. So then let's go on to the FAL variants. We have 3 of them. We have the FAL 50, the FAL Shorty, and then the FAL Para. Yeah, they're all there, but like what more do they really do to the game? Granted, the FALs, in their respect, are quite a bit different in terms of like what they really do. So I'll give them that. They are a decent bit different. However, again, they're still the same generic, strong, heavy-hitting guns that just kind of filled up space in the gun category more than anything. They are a little different, but really nothing that's drastic. I don't think there's a need for multiple different variants when they all have the same purpose. And then what I like to call the 4 off-sniper variants, the 1858 carbine, the Jury, the KAC SRR, and the Henry, all basically do the exact same thing. They one-shot to the head at any range, except for the Henry can one-shot to the body at close range because it's a battle rifle. The other ones, not so much. They really don't do anything special at that point. I believe, actually, the Jury can one-shot close range, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull up a calculator real quick. If I look that up, it is 80 times 1.25. Yeah, okay, so the Jury can one-shot at super close range, up to, I believe, 35 studs it can one-shot, and then the Henry is able to one-shot somewhere up to, like, 80 studs. So the Henry's a lot stronger than the other ones, but again, serves the same exact purpose as a whole. They're more or less just different guns that look different, and they're like quote unquote like a different style, but like they don't add anything to the game, right? Even the only gun, in my opinion, in recent memory that has truthfully changed something about the game and actually was useful was the HK416. It wasn't a laser beam like most other guns. It has more horizontal recoil compared to vertical, which is something we don't see that often. So that was something that in my eyes classified as slightly unique, and I felt like that personally was what I would consider new content. These other guns are not. They really don't add anything. So let's talk about copy-pasted things, because that was what really kind of inspired me to make this video. The G36K, I already explained, it's literally just a copy-paste of like the old G36 sets. A lot of people seem to forget the AK-103 exists. Like, let's talk about that. The AK-103 was more or less a complete copy-paste of the AKM when it came out. Granted, I believe it's been slightly tweaked now, but I'm going to look at the stats and just show you. So, the AKM does 39 to 28 damage at a range of 80 to 160 studs. The AK-103 does 38 to 29 damage at a range of 80 to 160 studs. The exact same range, it just changes one damage variable. So the AKM does 39 to 28, AK-103 does 38 to 29. They have the exact same fire rate, the exact same damage trade-off, everything. It is literally a copy-paste. It is an excuse to call it new when it really isn't. Granted, it is a quote-unquote new gun, but again, it adds literally nothing to this game. Think about all the guns that we have in here that you don't see on like a general basis, and I kind of hope like if there was a way I can get a message to Toothless about this, because I remember Toothless was the one who did the KDR stat pull from Phantom Forces of they took like all the KDRs in the game of active players and averaged them out, which was cool to see. I want them to take, if possible, like all the kills from people's guns in the games and find out what is the most used guns right now and what are the least used. Because at this point, let's be honest, like I'm just going to go through quickly on the spot here. You don't really see anyone using the G3. You don't really see that many people using the AG3. Even the Henry is really scarce. You don't see people using the G36K, obviously, because it's, you know, literally useless. You don't really see people using any of the AK-12 variants, other than, like, the default AK-12. You don't see the AK-U12, the AK-12C. You don't see the Groza 4. You very rarely will see an MC51SD. You don't see the, like, 1858 carbines. The AK-105 is utterly useless. I don't know why that's even in the game. It really isn't anything good. The Jury, the KAC SRR, you never see. As much as I hate to say it, you don't even see people really using like the AA-12 anymore. So even a shotgun is getting left out there. As for like LMGs, you very rarely, well, you'll see the Colt LMG just because it's the lowest. You'll almost never see an H-bar. You'll never see like an RPK-12. You won't ever see... I'm seeing a lot more like HKs. I very rarely see normal RPKs. I'll see RPK 74s every now and then. Sniping it's hard to say you don't see any of them because again, they all have the same purpose, just slightly different tweaks to them for the most part. DMRs, who cares about them? Almost nobody uses them. You'll see like low ranks using MK11 and SKS. Nothing else. Nobody cares about anything else in the DMR category for the general public from what I see. And then even PDWs are a huge thing. Like, you'll see a bunch of the low-rank PDWs because that's all people have. Even the M3A1 got buffed. You very rarely ever see it. You almost never see L2A3s. You'll never see things like the Foul Parashorty. Even, like, the MP40 and Tommy gun, those really only get used because people think, like, oh, wow, World War I guns and, like, World War II guns. Cool. But other than that, they really just don't get used because nobody cares about them. They don't do anything to change this game, and that is so frustrating. You have no idea, because they're passing off these terrible gun updates that do nothing. They are literally just fillers. They are guns that you might use every now and then because you are bored and for no other reason. Think about it. When you get on to Phantom Forces or any game you play, you are there to either have fun. There's three things. So you're there to either have fun and like mess around. You're there to do good, or a little bit of both. So you're looking for that happy medium. Most people who are there to do good don't care about 99% of these guns. People who are there to have fun will use anything just because they're trying to have fun with it. And people who are in the middle still won't use half these guns because it just isn't worth it. If they understand what the gun sets are and how good these guns actually are, most of them are useless. Like, for example, Let me pull up PDWs. Why would I use 99% of the PDWs in the game when the Vector exists? Think about that. Why would you use something like the MP5K when the Vector exists? Why would you use something like the AUG 3 Para when you have the Vector? Even the Colt SMG is extremely good. Even the M3A1 now, which can 2-shot to the torso at close range. Why would you use something like the, let's say, I don't know, the G36C when you have the M3A1? That's my point. There are so many better options out there that there is no point in using 99% of the guns. Unless you are purposely wanting to put yourself at a disadvantage, there is no reason. Like I said, even if you're in the middle where you're trying to do decent and have a little bit of fun, even like doing good, you have fun, don't get me wrong. But like if your goal is like have fun, do decent, there's some guns out there, but again, most of these are just useless. They're nothing to this game, and they never will be. So, in my opinion, I understand that Stylus has multiple different people doing multiple different things, so they have, like, one set of people working on guns, one set of people doing maps, one set of people doing, like, actual programming stuff. I get that. I 100% do. But I feel like it isn't worth you guys constantly flooding the game with these new guns that don't change anything. That nobody really cares about. Because at the end of the day, they become dead content. Nobody cares about them. Nobody will use them. They will never be talked about. They will never be a face of your game. They were a waste of time. And most of these guns, you just copy-pasted stats for. Or you just copy-pasted models. It's nothing new. It really bothers me. Don't sit here and believe these quote-unquote new guns stuff. Which, like, I'll always talk about them. But after a week, I won't care about them. Other than, like, the HK, which I still use. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know your opinions in the comments. Because I think this is complete, like... It's just stupid for them to keep passing this off and then we just accept it and move on. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give me your feedback and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.